What is hypnosis? Hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness that allows us to go into the subconscious part of the mind, the control panel of the mind, the part of the mind in which all our habits and our learnings are stored, or the learnings that we have undergone throughout our lives. Walking, talking, just about everything. Everything that we have ever learned since the beginning of time is stored in there. And many of these are surviving and developmental habits that are part of every human being. But among those habits, we have also acquired bad ones that go against our well-being, go against our good quality of life. And many of those habits constitute things such as low self-esteem, fears, phobias, anxieties, sadnesses, unresolved negative emotions that somehow remain there and have an influence on the way that we feel and the way that we perceive just about every aspect of life. So what we are able to do through our hypnosis is get rid of all these habits that get on the way of having a good quality of life and feeling good about ourselves and about life in general. And then at the same time, hypnosis allows us to implant positive habits, positive means of perception, positive outlook of life in all the ways that one particularly wants to have. And that's a wonderful, wonderful tool that makes us be happier people altogether. And free of addictions, free of things that definitely go against our well-being in every aspect. But then at the same time, we must realize that hypnosis does not work against our will, because at the very bottom, at the very foundation of our subconscious mind are the principles, the ethics, the things that are important, the things that we believe in, our values, and everything we are willing to keep as part of ourselves. And those parts are not in any way affected by hypnosis, because hypnosis only allows us to make the changes that we want to make, the things that go along with our willingness, our desires. So nobody ever can do anything that goes against their will, and nobody can make anyone to hypnosis do things that are against their basic values and their basic desires. That's something that must be established once and for all. Although on the other hand, it has wonderful changes towards what you want out of life, out of the way that you perceive, because we are what we perceive. Like they say, perception is really projection, and the projection can be contaminated by habits that are definitely not conducive to our well-being. There's another question that I've been asked many times, what to expect from hypnosis, what to expect of it. And I remember a master, a teacher of mine that used to tell, I always tell people that what to expect, when they ask me what to expect from the hypnosis session, when it comes to hypnosis, expect to feel relaxed. That is what feeling hypnotized is, just to feel relaxed, pleasantly relaxed, because it's a very, very enjoyable experience. It's a very enjoyable state of consciousness. It's very, very pleasing to feel relaxed. So just expect that, to feel relaxed, nicely relaxed. Now, when it comes down to the behaviors that people have after a hypnosis session, there's three segments that I have detected that normally most people fall into either one of these categories. One of them is, the first segment is the majority of people, because people that are willing to be free, to stop this enslaving that an addiction such as smoking that said some people. So people are willing to be free from this because they have tried to do it on their own, and it's impossible to quit smoking on their own. It's almost maybe 2 or 3% of people are able to achieve it, and most people just can't do it on their own, because when they're doing it that way, when they try to do it that way, they're utilizing their conscious mind, and the conscious mind is very changing, and it always has a fear to change from being in the comfort zone on the things that they already know. People are very unwilling through their conscious mind to change habits, because they associate security with things that they already know, habits that they already are blocked in. So The reason why hypnosis works so well is because one goes to the control panel and makes the changes where the changes can be made. So what happens in the first segment of people, as I was saying, that they totally lose, as a result of the session, they totally lose all desire of smoking, like if they have never smoked in their life, like if they have really never ever puffed a cigarette in their life. They have no desire. The desire totally gets eliminated and they don't want to smoke anymore. And that's that for the rest of their lives in the majority of cases. Because there's an influence that nicotine itself as a chemical addictive substance has that exerts a certain influence, but it only lasts like 3 days in the body because the organism gets rid of the nicotine in a maximum of 3 days. So the person undergoes a nicotine anxiety, which is very light, very easy to handle. And then after the 3rd day, that totally disappears. But the habit is not there because the hypnosis has totally removed it, has totally deleted that program. So therefore, the people in the first segment totally stop smoking as if they have never started doing it. And they are totally free from it. Now there's a second segment. The second segment relates to people that associate, of course, in the first place, they have willingly undergone the hypnosis session for non-smoking, but then at the same time there's been associations in their minds that they have had, like coffee and cigarette, the Coca-Cola and cigarette, maybe a glass of wine and cigarette. So they have a combo, as we want to call it. So what happens is when this cigarette comes to their mind due to the fact of the appearance of this cup of coffee, this glass of wine, this Coke or this beer, well, then somehow they sort of have this small memory of thinking, oh, I'm having this glass of wine and thinking about having a cigarette. But then at the same time, their suggestions they have implanted themselves are so much stronger that they definitely eliminate this thought. That thought just goes away, and so they can freely have their coffee and have their wine or whatever they used to associate with cigarette without the need, because the need for a cigarette already went away. It tends to just fade away in a short while. So they're free from it. Later they start to continue losing that association until the association just goes away altogether. And then there's a third segment of people are the people that went to the session because somebody else coerced them to, maybe a parent, maybe their children, maybe a wife or husband. And they just went there because of the doctor that told them that they had emphysema, they had a respiratory disease that could get worse if they continued to smoke. So they're not doing it because they want to, but they're doing it because somebody else is coercing them to do it. In that case, very seldom, the hypnosis session for non-smoking works for them. In very few cases, it just might. But most of the time it doesn't work because it's proven now that the willingness of the person to make the changes along with the wonderful tool of hypnosis makes the magic, makes the miracle take place. It's the association of both, the willingness to undergo the change and being channeled through this hypnosis technology that is starting to become very widespread and is starting to be applied to most therapists, most behavioral therapists, and people are starting to become happier and happier because hypnosis allows us to make changes that are fast, they're quick, agile, and long-lasting. And it's a wonderful, effective, more proven technology. And also we know that our will is important. We want to have the changes, and then it will work through this wonderful tool. When it comes down to effectiveness, well, the last study done, there was a study conducted by the American Association of Clinical Hypnotherapy on 1,000 smokers that underwent the non-smoking session. And after about 18 months of them having gone through a hypnosis session for non-smoking, after 18 months, from the 1,000 people that underwent it, 94% continued to be non-smokers and had no intention whatsoever of ever smoking again. So it's proven that it's very effective. It's very effective beyond all the challenges that have been done to it. As people get to know it, they realize that it really works. So the question remains, are you willing to try this wonderful technology? Thank you.